When Nintendo's CEO talks, you listen. When Nintendo drama starts, you really, really listen. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm pumped to talk about this big interview with Doug Bowser and some of the very interesting things he did say and didn't say. And yes, there is a dramatic flair to this with Charles Martinet returning to the spotlight. Now, Doug Bowser had interesting things to say about the Switch and the future and why he believes the Switch is successful. But the Charles Martinet thing won't go away. And I'll be honest, I initially dismissed all of it. I said, there's nothing fishy here. I'm sure Nintendo would not do that. He probably is retiring. He probably just doesn't want to do it anymore. He probably just, wants to enjoy his life. There was a lot of different reasons that made logical sense to me besides, hey, we're giving this guy, the old yank off the stage. He got to be Mario's dad in the Mario movie. How perfect. This new piece of evidence, this new quote from Charles himself, it doesn't paint things in such a great light. So definitely let me know your take in the comments down below. I want to start off with a few things that good old Doug Bowser did say, okay? He's got this very interesting long interview with IGN where he goes over how, hey, it's been a banner year for Nintendo. They opened Super Nintendo World in Hollywood, California. They had the Mario Bros. Movie. Their first movie is the second largest box office grossing animated film of all time, over $1 billion. Tears of the Kingdom nearly pushed 20 million units already. It's been great. He talks about how they had events in Japan similar to Nintendo Live, and then they surprised people with Mario Wonder demos at Nintendo Live. Angry about that, I would have gone. And how they continue to utilize different avenues and different areas to present new products, to surprise fans, and with E3 kind of on the outs, sounds like maybe they'll do more Nintendo Lives in the future. He also talks about how Nintendo Switch is so successful 7 years in, and he says, I stopped counting the years. Dude, that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop acting like that, Dougie. He says that the way I look at it is that every year there are millions of households that have children reaching the age of 6 or 7 or 8, and they're making choices about how they want to engage their family in gaming and what platform they want to bring their family in with. And I really believe Nintendo positions itself very well because of that versatility of the device and of equal importance. Now, this is very interesting to me. And before you dismiss it as, oh my gosh, Nintendo for babies, no. This is saying Nintendo is what you introduce gaming to your family with. Now, that honestly is a very special sentiment. And it's something that really just speaks to the evergreen, ever-present power of Nintendo. Nintendo may not have the most perfect console. They may not have the best performance, the highest frame rate. But Nintendo and gaming are very synonymous, especially for young gamers. Now, Nintendo does make some family-friendly games. Yes, that is true. But every gamer has to be young at some point. It's unavoidable. And where you start with gaming can definitely have a big impact. Now, some people start gaming later in life. They're 13, they're 14. They play Xbox. They play Halo at their friend's house. Whatever they did, that's fine. But when he talks about 6, 7, 8-year-olds and introducing them, getting them their first gaming console, maybe even their own console, introducing them to games that are right for them at that age, it's really interesting that Nintendo checks all those boxes with flying colors. And it makes a lot of sense why Nintendo nostalgia is so strong and how it continues to be so strong. And when my kid is 30, they may have the same view of Nintendo as I do. When your kid grows up, they may feel the same way. And they may be following Nintendo YouTubers because their childhood is laced with Nintendo nostalgia as well. And what's interesting here is that I feel like nostalgia is typically tied to things from like the 90s. Like there's something about those decades pre-millennium that are very appealing, very memorable, very comforting, like pre-internet era. But at the same time, Nintendo is laying the groundwork for yet another nostalgic era. And I'm sure people have nostalgia for God of War and Doom and Halo, yes. But I think thinking about like, hey, I played Animal Crossing when I was 7 years old on Nintendo Switch and it was amazing. I played Mario Bros. Wonder and it was my first video game. I played Tears of the Kingdom and I never knew that this video game thing could do something like that. I could build, I could create, I could explore, like, even though other games do things better, bigger, and with more impressive power, there's something about Nintendo and their games that really welcome, embrace, and almost indulge you in the magic of video games. And I think no matter if it's pixel graphics with Pokemon on the original Game Boy, or if it's going to be Mario World on the SNES, or if it's going to be Mario 64, exploring a 3D world for the first time on N64, Nintendo is somehow recapturing that with Switch. I don't know what they did with Wii and Wii U, because I feel like those were awkward steps that Nintendo had to take, had to make, but they were maybe not the most nostalgic. Yeah, like motion control, you have fun times with your family, but there's something about the Switch. It's so good, it's so pure, and it resonates so well that, yeah, no wonder Nintendo can be successful for eternity, because they really do capture the hearts of new gamers, of young gamers. And it's not to say that it's for babies, but they are the window into gaming for many people. And they're the window into which we would introduce our young into that as well. Like, it makes sense. I just thought that was a really special sentiment, and I really, really like that. He's talking about how, whether it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder that you play downstairs, some of the games that you can play downstairs with the kids, some that you can play upstairs with yourself, co-op, family engagement, online. Like, Nintendo is really gaming for everyone. But now let's get to someone it may not be for anymore, and that's Charles Martinet. Now, Doug Bowser was asked about Charles, but I have talk from Charles himself, which is more interesting. Let's start with this. So he's asked about, Charles Martinet, and Doug Bowser has a very, PR-focused, PR-approved message. He says, yes, well, Charles has obviously been a voice actor with us for quite some time, and as we look for ways to keep Charles involved in Nintendo's business, we thought this was a very nice transition for him to Mario Ambassador, and Charles is very excited about it. I'll let Charles speak to it himself if he'd like to, but we look forward to having him continue to represent Nintendo and, importantly, the Mushroom Kingdom as we go forward. I think people have recognized this when they see Super Mario Bros. Wonder. They'll hear a different voice, and we'll let that play out, and that'll be within the credits, and people will learn who the new person is at that point in time. But we don't plan to make any announcement in advance of that. Let's break this down here. First of all, he says Charles is very excited about being an ambassador. Remember that. He says he'll let Charles speak to it himself. Okay. He also says that there's a different voice, it'll be in the credits, and they're making no announcement. Now that part, I have predicted and talked about that. I don't think Nintendo is going to go out of their way to champion a new voice of Mario. I think there'll be many different voices of Mario because you got theme parks, you got movies, you got games. Who knows what else Nintendo is investing in or experimenting with or looking to explore from a media standpoint. I don't think a voice for Mario makes sense anymore given his versatility and given the way that they want to sort of push him out there to the world. But the Charles thing is interesting. He says Charles is very excited. So let's go to Charles's quote. Charles Martinet was at GalaxyCon Austin, and he gave a talk and some interview about all that's going on with Nintendo. First of all, he says that regarding the Mario Ambassador position, he doesn't know what that is yet. I am now a Mario Ambassador. I don't know what that is yet. What? I thought he was very excited about it. As we step forward in the future, we'll all learn exactly what that is. What? Okay, now I'm starting to feel a little uneasy. Nintendo's saying he's super excited about it. He don't even know what it is. We were convinced that being Mario Ambassador was something that he really wanted to go travel and tour, and that's what he enjoyed most about this Nintendo thing, and that he wanted to continue in that way. But now he doesn't know what it is. He also says that he's not retiring from voice acting. This is where things get real dicey to me. I was under the impression that the reason Charles Martinet was no longer voicing Mario was because he was no longer able or wanting to do voice acting work. He's not retiring from voice acting. Now, it's not like the Mario voice is so intense he can't do that project anymore, because he's confirmed he's only been in the booth like once every couple of years. He does all the lines. They're like, short bits. It's not huge Shakespearean monologues, and then he's out. But he's not retiring from voice acting, but he's out as Mario, and he doesn't know what the Mario Ambassador even is. This changes things for me, and this now does feel like maybe there is actually some drama and some strange, weird mystery at play. I don't know what it could be, and I don't know when we'll actually find out. Charles seems like too good of a guy to bash Nintendo or, too good of a guy to bash Nintendo or to read them for filth, and I don't think he'll ever speak negatively about it. He still is the Mario Ambassador, even if he doesn't know what it is. And he's also not retired, but he's no longer Mario. I don't want to insinuate that there's something bad going on here or that Nintendo has done something wrong, but I've completely flipped on how I feel. before I was convinced with the utmost certainty that Charles Martinet and Nintendo parted ways amicably. That he wanted this, that this has been known for a long time, that it was part of just his life journey. The fact that he doesn't know what his role even is, and the fact that he isn't retired from voice acting, and Nintendo says he's really excited when clearly he doesn't seem to be. I don't know. I smell something a little off. I won't pretend to know what it is, but maybe it's something on a very personal level. Maybe he was tough to work with. Maybe Nintendo was tough to work with. Maybe it's none of this. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are and what your take is, because this seems odd to me, and I'm very confused why they would say he's very excited, and then he right back at him says he doesn't know what it is, and I'm also just shocked that he's not retiring from voice acting. And I feel it's very interesting that he would call this out, right? It's one thing if, like, oh, he continued doing voice acting projects, and he didn't know what the Mario Ambassador is, and they figured that role out, but the fact that he speaks on this, doesn't that seem a little bit suspicious? Like, why would he talk about it in this way that breeds uncertainty and maybe breeds confusion and maybe breeds, like, I don't know, it was their decision. I hope that's not the case. I hope there's nothing bad here. Whether you think Charles Martinet is important to Nintendo or not, that's the voice of Mario, and that has had impact on everybody that's played Mario's life at some point. No matter how small or how large, it's been an impact. It's been a voice that you can reckon with. And it's not even so much about us. To me, it's about him. If he didn't want to not be Mario anymore, why didn't they let him continue? Why did they make him this undefined, unknown role that clearly he's confused about? And why isn't he retiring from voice acting? And what else is he going to do next? They need to make him the voice of Sonic. That is the most fitting, about-face, step forward, backdoor move we could possibly have. And it won't happen, but it would be very interesting and intriguing. So let me know what you think about Doug Bowser's comments about Nintendo as the gateway for gamers, and how you feel about this developing Charles Martinet stuff that I thought was laid to rest and I thought was a nothing burger, but clearly there's much more than meets the eye. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.